Hello, I'm James Fulkerson, your EH&S manager here at PLU. Welcome to Dangerous Waste Training.
First of all, what exactly is a dangerous waste? Dangerous waste is any waste material, liquid, solid, gas, or sludge that, due to its quantity, concentration, or physical, chemical, or infectious characteristics, may pose a substantial hazard to human health or the environment if not properly managed. Washington uses the term dangerous waste rather than the federal term of hazardous waste because Washington's dangerous waste regulations are more protective than the federal laws. The dangerous waste definition is more expansive than hazardous waste. In this presentation, we'll cover when employees should be trained, proper labeling of dangerous waste containers, maintenance of accumulation areas, spill response procedures, identification and inspection of emergency response equipment, and inspection of satellite and central accumulation areas. Why does dangerous waste training matter? Properly managing dangerous waste helps protect you, those around you, and the environment. Knowing how to properly handle dangerous wastes is also key to keeping PLU compliant with state and federal regulations. Who needs dangerous waste training? Anyone who adds or removes dangerous waste, labels containers, inspects waste accumulation areas, prepares waste for transport, manages records, or responds to spills is required to take this training. By definition, this training is required for employees in a number of roles. PLU employees will receive additional training within 6 months of hire and annual training thereafter. Let's talk about dangerous waste containers. Containers used to collect dangerous waste, regardless of the type of container, must be kept closed when not in use and kept in good condition. Lock and secure funnels on drums after adding and removing waste and close the container. Securely fasten drum rings and tighten bungs. Regularly inspect drums for damage like rust, dents, or leaks. Dangerous waste containers must also include the words dangerous waste or hazardous waste on the label, as well as all hazards and their nature. Containers must include an accumulation start date, except for satellite accumulation area containers, which we will discuss later. Some areas may require secondary containment for their wastes. Secondary containment of liquid dangerous waste may prevent spills that may result in injuries, property damage, or expensive cleanup costs. All liquid waste that are produced and or stored on site must have secondary containment that is covered, if not inside an enclosed building, made of a leak-proof material, sturdy in construction, compatible with the waste that's meant to contain, and capable of containing 10% of the volume of all the containers holding liquid, or the total volume of the largest container in the area, whichever is greater. If you have secondary containment pallets in your accumulation area, check them regularly for debris, cracks, erosion, and other issues that could compromise the integrity of the area. Spilled or leak waste must be removed from the sump or collection area of the pallet in a timely manner to prevent overflow of the collection system. Let's talk about how containers are to be labeled. Your container size determines how large you need to make your labels. You may label your containers entirely with text-only labels. If you do, the lettering may have a size or visibility requirement depending on the size of the container. For example, small containers or containers that are less than or equal to 1 gallon or 4 liters need to have the words hazardous waste or dangerous waste on them in print size appropriately for the container. The accumulation start date for the label has no size requirement. Label large containers or containers greater than 1 gallon or 4 liters with the same information, except it must be legible and recognizable from 25 feet away, or at least 1/2 inch high. Again, the accumulation date has no size requirement. Label universal waste containers, for example, batteries, fluorescent bulbs or tubes, and non-PCB ballasts, with the words universal waste and the specific type of waste. In this case, an accumulation date must be added to the universal waste once use of the container begins. This is the PLU hazardous spill response flowchart. Review the safety data sheet, SDS, to know the hazard or hazards of the item that has been spilled. SDS sheets at PLU are managed through HazSoft, and this can be readily accessed on the EH&S homepage. If a spill kit is used, the absorbent material must be packaged in a container compatible with the contents and treated as a dangerous waste. In other words, the material must be properly labeled, dated, and placed in the appropriate area. Contact EH&S at 7233 if there are any questions. Inspecting emergency equipment in your work area. Eye wash stations and emergency showers. It is a responsibility of the individual that manages the area to inspect the eye wash stations or eye wash showers in their area of responsibility weekly and record the inspections on the attached tag. Ensure that there's nothing blocking access to the eye wash station or shower. When performing the weekly test, ensure that the station is fully operational. In other words, does water come out of both eyepieces with the same pressure? Ensure station is flushed for at least 20 seconds until the stream comes out clear. Check that the equipment is not clogged, that the caps are kept on to avoid the dust and debris accumulation, and no leaks are observed when the equipment is tested. Know the locations of fire extinguishers in your work area and make sure that the access to them is not blocked. If fire extinguishers are in need of inspection, reach out to the facility maintenance team at 7380. They perform the inspections and maintain the fire extinguishers. Satellite accumulation areas, or SAA, is the name given to the location where dangerous wastes are generated and stored before being moved to the campus central storage area. This includes such areas as the chemistry and biology labs. You can have less than 55 gallons of dangerous waste or 1 quart or 2.2 pounds of acutely hazardous waste in your SAA at all times. SAAs are to be inspected weekly concurrently with the central accumulation area. EH&S, risk management, and or their designated representatives are responsible for the weekly and monthly inspection of the satellite accumulation areas. Satellite accumulation areas must be under the control of the worker or locked and secured at all times when there's no one there. Satellite accumulation areas are managed as follows. Step 1. Mark your containers according to the aforementioned labeling requirements. Step 2. Accumulate waste safely. Store dangerous waste in containers that are compatible with the waste and that will remain to be closed unless adding waste or temporarily venting. Step 3. Once you have 55 gallons of dangerous waste, 1 quart of liquid acutely hazardous waste, or AHW, or 2.2 pounds of solid acutely hazardous waste, label the container with a start date. Step 4. Once a container is close to reaching these limits, notify EH&S as the containers need to be moved to the central accumulation area within 3 days of that point. Again, a satellite accumulation area allows you to accumulate dangerous waste near the work area where it's generated. After you meet a certain threshold, EH&S, risk management, or their designated representative will move the waste to a central accumulation area and will arrange to send the waste to a designated facility for proper management. The central accumulation area at PLU is at the rear of the facility maintenance compound. It will only be accessed by EH&S, risk management, and their designated representatives. Pictured here is an example of a properly labeled central accumulation area. This image outlines the other required items needed in a central accumulation area. Remember, operating safely with dangerous waste is everyone's responsibility. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact EH&S. Thank you for your time today.